You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account. From Apple to VIX and everything in between, if it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report. If you're listening to this show, chances are you're pretty serious about options trading. So let me put something on your radar. Public. It's the most cost-effective way to trade options. That's because Public is the only platform that gives you rebates on your options trades. They also have some of the industry's lowest index options fees. Whether you're placing single leg or complex multi-leg trades, every dollar counts. Check out public.com/optionsbrief and discover the most cost-effective way to trade options. Paid for by Public Investing. Full disclosures in podcast description. And now, get ready to scan the tape for the most explosive options activity on the street. It's time for the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody, that music means it is time for your Hot Options Report for Wednesday, October 15th. Was it another wild day in the options market? Let's find out, shall we? Let's kick it off in VIX land. VIX cash closing today, 2064, off about 0.17, putting up 962,000 contracts on the tape today, listeners. That's against an ADV of just 763, so a decently active day out there in VIX land. The hot option in VIX today, nearly 80,000 of the D's 25. It's been a little while since we've seen some D's upside lighting up the board. D's 25's average price for these, $2.26. You're getting a fair amount of duration for those. You like those, listeners? December, not normally the seasonally strongest month for volatility, so it could be an interesting one. Either way, about 2.25 will get you the D's 25s. As we keep on rolling to SPY, was it a hot day in SPY? The answer was yes, as we are whipping and sawing all over the place these days. SPY closing today, net up about 0.4%, 665.17 is where it went out, putting up 12 million contracts today against an ADV of about 8.9 million. And the hot option out there, 525,000. Of these 670 calls, average price for these, 48 cents. We were whipping around today, so you had opportunities to get out of these, even if they didn't exactly close in the winner's circle. As we keep on rolling out to the SPX, listeners, was it a hot day in the SPX? The answer was yes, 4.9 million contracts against an ADV of 4.3 million. The hot option out there today, 116,000. Of these 6,700s, the S closing 66.71. So again, like SPY, you had your moments intraday to get out of those. They went up for nearly $6, so you had to be a little quick on the trigger finger, but you had your opportunities if you rode them through the close. Maybe not quite so happy as we keep on rolling out to small caps. IWM rallying nearly a full percent today, closing 250 1/3, putting up 2.5 million contracts against an ADV of about 1.7 million. And the hot option out there, 136,000. Of the November 238 puts, average price for these, $3.10. So again, not exactly cheap puts, but if you don't mind picking up some IWM at that level, maybe you're saying sold to you and you want to collect that $3.10. Either way, small caps having an active day as we keep on rolling to the Qs. The Nasdaq closing right around 602 1/4, up about 2/3% today, putting up nearly 6 million contracts, 5.9 million contracts against an ADV of 4.6 million. And the hot option out there today, 210,000. Of the par puts, the 600 puts expiring today, average price for these about $1. So we were vacillating around. Obviously, they looked pretty good earlier this morning. Maybe not quite as good heading towards the close. As we keep on rolling out to the single names, listeners, was it a hot day? Was it a spicy day in single name options land? The answer was no. It only cost you 443,000 contracts to break into the top 10 today. There are many days where we'll see that around noon as opposed to at the end of the day. So interesting stuff. That gets us to our old pal, the monster, aka MicroStrategy, closing 296.76, giving up nearly $4, about 380, or a little over one, about 1.25%. Again, putting up 443,000 contracts. And the hot option out there in the monster today, listeners, 24, almost 25,000 of the 345 calls, listeners. Average price for these about 21 cents. Again, the monster going out today shy of the par strike, about 296 3/4. So 345 is a fair way to go, listeners. But there was some OI on the strike. This is potentially closing as we keep on rolling to number 9, Bank of America earnings season kicking off again with a lot of financials, including Bank of America. Bank of America popping on some decent numbers, closing right around 52.25, up about 4.5%, putting up 452,000 contracts today. The hot option out there in Bank of America, 39, almost 40,000 of the 54 calls expiring on Friday. Average price for these about 11 cents. We'll keep an eye on Bank of America. Can we threaten the 54 strike before the end of the week? We shall see as we keep on rolling out to Palantir. Kind of a sleepy day for Palantir, only slightly over 500,000 contracts on the tape. Palantir closing nearly unched out there today. So again, sleepy day for them. The hot option out there, nearly 40,000 of the 185 calls. Average price for these about 210. Again, Palantir going out 179 and about 3/4 out there today, listeners. So again, a sleepy day in Palantir. 185s. Can we get there by the end of the week? We shall see as we keep on rolling out to Open. Where did Open close today, listeners? $7.38, off a little over 1/4, about 3.5%, putting up 537,000 contracts. And the hot option in Open today, back to the puts we go, 101,000 of the 7 half puts, again, expiring on Friday. These now in the money puts averaged about 35 cents today. So those are looking pretty decent. Do you like those? 35 cents for these puts. We'll keep an eye on them, listeners, as we keep on rolling to number 6. It's the fruit company, Apple, closing 249 and about 1/3, putting up 585,000 contracts today. And the hot option out there, 43,000 of the 2 halves, the 250s. Average price for these, $2.24. Before you get all bent out of shape, we nearly got there today. 251.82 was the high. So those 250s for about 2.25, looking a lot better earlier today than towards the close. As we keep on rolling to number 5, it's our old pal Intel, catching another leg up, closing 37.15, up about $1.50 or about 4.25%. So another good day for the Intel crowd. 628,000 contracts on the tape today. The hot option, 49,000 of the March 48s. That's a wild month in strike. March 48s. Think about it for a second, listeners. What do you think a March 48 call is going for? 3, 2, 1. If you said $2.85, you are the winner. Chicken dinner out there, listeners. $48 by March expiration. Can we get there? Can we even threaten that? The stock was just $20 about a month or two ago. Not even. So 48 certainly seems like a rich level. That said, you're only paying $2.85 for a decent amount of duration. So you could look at it that way, even if you don't like the strike. There is still some duration out there. Or you can look at it and say it's a 65 vol sold to you. Not a bad covered call either, listeners. As we keep on rolling to number 4, it's good old Amazon, listeners. 215.57 is where it went out today, giving up about 2/3 of a point, putting up about 750,000 contracts. Today in the hot option, 45,000 of the 220s. Average price for these about 98 cents. And once again, we did almost get there. Well, we got to about almost 218 today, listeners. So these were looking better earlier this morning. We got as high as nearly 218 out there in Amazon today, listeners. So Maybe that 98 cents for the 220s sounds a little better in that context as we keep on rolling. To number 3, yes, number 3, it's Tesla. 435.15, gaining back about $6.20 or about 1.5%, putting up 1 2/3 million contracts out there today. And the hot option, 104,000 of the 440s. Average price for these, $5.46. You know we got there intraday, and the answer was we did. 440.5 was the high out there today. So again, maybe those 440s for $5.46 sound a little better in that context as we keep on rolling. What kicked Tesla to number 3 today, listeners? It's AMD taking the number 2 spot, $238.60, rallying another almost $21 or about 9.5%. So just absolutely wild stuff out there today, listeners. 1.83 million contracts changing hands in AMD today. Did they get even more in bed with OpenAI, listeners? Either way, the hot option in AMD today, 123,000 of the 240s. Average price for these, $3.53. As we keep on rolling to the number 1 offender out there today, listeners. It's our old pal Nvidia taking the top spot with just a tick under 3 million contracts. Closing today, 179.83, off slightly on the day, but not really a huge mover for them net on the day, listeners. And the hot option on a decently hot day, volume-wise, if not underlying-wise, in Nvidia, 217,000 contracts of the 185 calls. Once again, the 185s proving to be popular. $1.40 was your average price there, listeners. And before you get bent out of shape, we did get up to 184.87. So we threatened these earlier in the session until we didn't, listeners. So again, $1.40, only a couple of more days to go in the week. Can we get back up there? We shall find out. Stay tuned for tomorrow's action on the network, listeners. We'll be back kicking things off on the option block with our good buddy, the Flow Master. If you like this show, make sure you're checking out the option block as well as, of course, afterwards for this week in futures options. And then we wrap it all up with tomorrow's edition of the Hot Options Report. Stay safe out there, everybody.
Check out public.com/optionsbrief and discover the most cost-effective way to trade options. Paid for by Public Investing. Full disclosures in podcast description.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.